Nous allons écouter tout d'abord quelqu'un qui attend depuis un moment, qui est à Brest. C'est M. Olivier JACQ, qui travaille chez France Cyber Maritime. Donc, il est dans les questions de lutte contre la cybercriminalité. J'ai eu la chance de l'écouter à Bordeaux au cours d'un colloque qu'organisait notre collègue Piette. Et ça a été vraiment un grand moment d'échange sur des problématiques nouvelles, d'autant plus qu'on parle bientôt d'un développement important des navires autonomes. Ça va encore élargir les sujets de réflexion et peut-être même les risques. Voilà, donc nous allons l'écouter. J'ai pas eu la chance d'avoir son CV, mais il nous résumera en quelques mots son expérience avant de commencer sa communication. Et après, je présenterai ma collègue Asliane et puis après Alain Colac qui est également à nos côtés. Voilà, sans plus attendre, puisque le temps va très vite, c'est à vous, Monsieur JACQ.
Oui, merci beaucoup. Alors, comme je le disais tout à l'heure, je vais faire ma présentation orale en anglais, parce que je crois qu'on a des participants anglophones, et mes diapositives, vous voyez, sont en français, donc je vais basculer en anglais. Good morning, Mr. Secretary General, General Officers, dear professors, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends. So my name is Olivier JACQ. I am a research fellow at the Research Institute of the French Naval Academy in Brest. Additionally, I serve as a senior advisor at France Cyber Maritime. France Cyber Maritime is a non-profit organization dedicated to enhancing cybersecurity within the maritime sector and port sector. France Cyber Maritime was established 4 years ago with initial support from the French state. And prior to these roles, I spent nearly 3 decades in the French Navy, specializing in cybersecurity for the naval sector. So before we dive into the current cyber threats on troits, I wanted to extend my sincere gratitude to the organizers and supporters of this conference, the CESM of course, Université du Littoral Côte d'Opale, Centre de droit maritime et océanique de Nantes Université, Service historique de la défense, and all other partners. Bringing together such a diverse range of researchers with an interdisciplinary approach, including history, law, geography, and computer science, to tackle these important topics is indeed a remarkable accomplishment, so thank you very much. As a researcher from outside the fields of law, geopolitics, or history, I feel honored to have the opportunity to speak at this conference. I'm very grateful for this chance to share my insight with you today. And I wanted to give a specific thank you to France Minard for the kind invitation to talk. So given that we have some international researchers in the audience, I thought it would be nice to talk in English while keeping my slides in French, and I hope this arrangement suits everyone. So I deeply regret that I'm not able to make it to Paris today. As you may know, October is the Cybersecurity Awareness Month in Europe. And our schedule at France Cyber Maritime is a little complicated during this time. While doing my best to stay within the allocated time, I will structure my presentation as follows. So first, I will provide you with some current and recent figures on maritime cyber threats to enhance your knowledge and understanding of these risks. Then I will explain why cybersecurity should be fully integrated, in my opinion, into the threat and risk assessments of any modern conflict in the maritime domain. And then I will detail the digital transformation of ships and ports over the years, highlighting the advantages and drawbacks of this evolution. Following that, I will focus on a few recent cyber incidents that have occurred in straits and shallow waters. And finally, I will draw some conclusions and offer perspectives on the future of maritime cybersecurity, focusing on information sharing. So now let's begin our exploration of the cyber threats on straits today. Let's start with some striking figures to illustrate the impact of cyber incidents on the maritime sector. As researchers, you may question the daily impact of these incidents. Are they true or false, right or fictitious? And you're right to do so. So here are some eye-opening numbers. Over the past 20 years, the number of cybersecurity incidents in the maritime sector has increased significantly, as you can see. This surge that you can see is attributed to attackers' growing interest in the strategic and financially important maritime sector. These are cyber criminals, activists, state actors. All maritime countries are concerned. It's important to notice that. In 2023, at France Cyber Maritime, we recorded 612 incidents that affected the global maritime sector, so 612 incidents in 2023. Each incident had a tangible impact on operations, reputation, or on the daily work of the targeted maritime stakeholders. So for instance, maybe remember the activity of a port operator in Australia, which was seriously disrupted by a cyber attack in November 2023. Port operations in Melbourne, Sydney, Fremantle and Brisbane had to be shut down for days. And in the just first 6 months of 2024, 20% of the emails which were received on board ships were blocked due to being identified as dangerous or spam. That's one mail in every 5 emails, so it's a huge number. Out of 5.2 million emails analyzed by Marlink, which is one of our beneficiaries, they blocked 23,000 emails containing malicious content. So you see that there is a very high activity targeting the maritime sector. However, we must be cautious when interpreting these figures for 2 reasons. First, the data represents only the incidents detected by us or by Marlink, which is a small part of the entire global maritime ecosystem. And then not all of these attacks specifically target the maritime sector. Similar to traditional burglars, some attackers merely exploit vulnerabilities in the maritime sectors, computers and networks, as they do in other sectors. You know that hospitals are targeted, administrations are targeted, etc. Public activities are targeted as well. So if you're interested by figures, you can find all the figures and details in our annual cyber threat reports that we issued on our website if you want to know more about this incident. So now, if we have a look at history. History, I'm not here to write history because I'm working on cyber, and cyber we work really on a daily basis. And you know that writing history as it unfolds is a challenging, if not dangerous task, okay? So I did that for people working on history research. This temptation also exists in cybersecurity, writing history as we observe it. However, we analyze and observe a huge number of digital events, and we try to connect them with political, geographical, economical, or physical occurrences across the strategic, tactical, and operational levels. It's very complicated. We endeavor also to attribute these events to specific group of attackers or countries, and it's very, very complicated or dangerous to do so. However, there is one point on which most researchers and public and private bodies agree. There is no modern physical conflict, tension, or war today without cyber component. This is very important to understand. Cyber events precede, support, or contribute to maintaining pressure before, during, and after kinetic events. This reality has been illustrated in recent conflicts, such as the Russia-Ukraine war, the conflict between Israel and Hamas, and Iranian involvement in regional disputes as well in the Red Sea. Therefore, we strongly encourage all research activities in risk analysis, in threat assessment, in geopolitics, in law, to consider cyber as a genuine space of conflict that should not be overlooked, underestimated, or overestimated. However, please be concerned when you read recent books, essays, or research articles on threats, risk, or strategy in the maritime sector. If they do not integrate cyber as a full risk, then you may have a problem, okay? Then, of course, we must also be responsible and avoid indulging into systematic worst-case scenario or movie-like scenarios, as they call them. Of course, risks exist and they can be contained or reduced through hard work. But when we go into sensationalism, it does not help, okay? On this side, you can see 2 cases. The crash of the MV Davy on the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, and the grounding of the container ship Ever Given in the Suez Canal. And very, very quickly, assumptions about cyber attacks were made and are still made about these 2 events, okay? And on the other hand, you have real cyber attacks, which are linked to conflicts with very high impact on operation in the maritime sector, which do actually exist. So let's put a question. What has made our strategic maritime sector, once characterized by its resilience, increasingly susceptible to cyber threats. I don't have time to list all the factors, but here's a brief summary. Over the years, we have equipped ships and ports with tens of different information systems to make them safer, smarter, faster, more competitive, and greener. These include systems like GPS, the automatic identification to prevent collision, digital maps, situational awareness tools such as ECDIS, and moreover, we are connecting more and more ships and their systems to the shore and to the internet. This connectivity facilitates real-time integration of ships as a real part of our fast-paced economies, and it also supports monitoring of fuel consumption, for instance, among other benefits. And it's just the beginning, so it will continue to integrate and give more and more information system on ships. So many of these systems and protocols, they were not originally designed to withstand cyber threats, but to ensure the safety of life at sea. And while digital systems certainly enhance the safety and security of ships and seafarers, the combination of vulnerable protocols and tools, the very long life cycle of around 40 years, and the challenge of keeping software up to date, this has resulted into potentially vulnerable civilian and military ships transiting our straits and shallow waters every day. And of course, ships and ports are not the only system present in this area. Of course, I cannot discuss about maritime cybersecurity without mentioning submarine telecommunication cables. We have 98% of international communication traversing through these cables, okay? 486 cables are laid worldwide, and we have 1,306 landing points. They are critical infrastructures for many, many countries. And alongside electric submarine cables and oil and gas pipelines, they are likely prime targets in the event of a global conflict. Here you can see a worldwide map overlaying the number of submarine cables transiting through straits and shallow waters. So you can see 20 submarine cables transiting through the Skagerrak in Denmark. You can see the number through the Suez Canal, 28 submarine cables, Babel-Mendeb 70 cables, etc., etc. So it's very important to remind us when we think about straits to think about submarine cables. However, to put it a little bit bluntly maybe, I'm not sure we have fully understood and measured the tremendous impact that a global disruption on submarine cables worldwide would have on our daily economy and daily life as well. Just as a reminder, the first instance of a submarine cable being cut during a war dates back to 1898, during the Spanish-American War. So it's very, very long time ago. And this tactic was also employed during World War I and World War II. There is nothing new into cutting or threatening to cut submarine cables. In the following slides, given the time remaining, I will focus on a few incidents related to straits, shallow waters, maritime approaches, and sea lanes. I won't be able to cover each strait today. It's very important for you to understand that aside from cutting submarine cables or engaging into electronic warfare or influence operation, targeting a specific ship or group of ships is not straightforward. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's very challenging to orchestrate an event on a ship in a specific zone. So that's why anti-access, area denial, A2AD, through electronic warfare is one of the most prevalent war game scenarios impacting the safety and security of maritime stakeholders today. Primarily intended to protect infrastructures and cities from missiles and drones and to disrupt military activities, these tactics also affect the maritime ecosystem. Some more ephemeral GPS A2AD zones can be found in other regions like Asia, the Persian Gulf, the Red Sea. However, the most active and permanent zones are just a few hundred or thousand kilometers away from us, which indeed poses a threat to the freedom of navigation. As you can see, 4 of these zones are directly connected to straits, mostly in Baltic, in the Black Sea, and Eastern Med. So you can see that the Suez Canal, when a ship transits from Marseille to the Suez Canal, for instance, they enter an A2AD zone, which means they can lose their GPS connection while transiting through the Suez Canal. On this slide, you can see the GPS spoofing activities in the Black Sea and Azov Sea. The green circles that you see indicate zones where ships are virtually translated to. So to the right, you can see the result of a typical spoofing GPS activity. This image was taken yesterday, and it shows the position of a ship set aground in an airport in Crimea. And this kind of translation, which is of course virtual, happens every day in the Black Sea due to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. GPS anti-access area denial zones also occur in the Eastern Mediterranean with even increased jamming and spoofing activity since the terrorist attacks by Hamas on Israel. And here you can see the position of a ship, also taken yesterday, which was virtually relocated to the south of Amman, of Amman in Jordania. And this too happens several times per hour. Okay, so each hour, as we speak, you can find ships which are virtually aground near Amman, and it's only GPS spoofing activity in the area. Because there is nothing virtual, it's a real life matter. So two last focuses for me. The first one concerns the Baltic Sea. Apart from electronic warfare, maritime operators from the Baltic Sea were also concerned by more classical cyber attacks over the last years. Germany was the most hit country, with at least 27 disclosed attacks over the last 10 years, followed by Sweden, Denmark, and Lithuania. And most attacks concerned ports, followed by ship owners, defense sector, shipyards, and also, and it's very interesting to note, marine renewable energy installation as well. So maybe you have heard about recent incidents in the Gulf of Finland, where a Chinese container vessel left her anchor on the bottom of the sea while following her course through the Baltic for nearly 100 kilometers, and the ship damaged badly 2 submarine cables and 1 pipeline near Estonia. Okay, and the anchor drop was due to bad weather, said the inquiry. So I have no comment on that, but that's what the inquiry said. Now, if we shift our focus to the Red Sea, I will briefly discuss 2 significant incidents which occurred in the past year. The first incident involved a vessel targeted by an anti-ship missile from the Houthi in the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Okay, the ship caught fire and had to drop anchor, damaging 3 international submarine telecommunication cables. These cables remained cut for several weeks as Yemen and Houthis were not very proactive into repairing these cables. The second incident that you can see to the left involved an Iranian ship, which the US reportedly targeted by a cyber attack. Details on this attack have not been disclosed. The ship was alleged to be an Iranian military vessel suspected of spying and helping Houthi rebel pirates threatening shipping traffic in the Red Sea. So the US wanted to cut the possibility of this so-called spy ship to conduct its activity in Red Sea and help the Houthis with information and situational awareness. So as a conclusion, first we have that cybersecurity incidents occur on a daily basis, impacted maritime stakeholders worldwide. There is no country which is free from cyber attacks in the maritime sector. This is not fiction, it's reality that we all face. Second, we have observed that countries, neighboring straits or closed seas are regular victims of cyber attacks. Anti-access area denial, military operations make a daily use of GPS jamming and spoofing techniques, and they compromise the safety and security of many maritime stakeholders. Third, we have examined a few incidents in straits that had significant impacts on maritime operation. And given the current global crisis situation from the Baltic Sea to the Eastern Med and Asia, it is crucial that we continue monitoring such incidents in the years to come. And as from Cyber Maritime, we are deeply concerned about these incidents. We are committed to sharing information, and we do share it on a daily basis with our EU beneficiaries and international partners to prevent further incidents. So if you would like more information about what we do and our work, please do not hesitate to visit our website, and you can see our website address here on this last slide. So thank you very much for your attention.